Hi everybody, this is Oksana. Today we're going to be making a fun little flower pendant. So this is my practice one and this is the real one that we're going to be making in this video. I did do a little swirl here at the top that I didn't do here, and I have two different flowers, but they're identical other than that. Same type of bead and everything. So the fun thing about this design is that it only uses one piece of wire, and it's the most common wire, which is 20 gauge round. So really great in terms of simplicity, great for beginners, but you will of course need some additional supplies like this bead or some kind of bead, and also a little flower, which I'll tell you where I got mine from, and the bead needs to fit onto your wire. So if you want to see how to make this beginner friendly pendant, let's go ahead and get started. So for our wire, we are only going to be using one piece of wire, and it is a 20 gauge round wire. This is dead soft copper from riogrande.com. You can find round wire at craft stores as well. It can come in different colors where it's coated with color, but this isn't coated with anything. It's just pure copper. But you just need one piece, and the one piece measures 15 inches long. And then you need a bead. This is a teardrop bead that I have that's about 1.25 inches or 30 millimeters in size. It can be an oval or a round bead, it doesn't matter, and you can position it like this or like this. That's totally fine too. It can also be different sizes, but you'll just need to adjust your flower to fit the size bead that you have. So we're going to take the one piece of wire and we're going to bring the ends of it together and just kind of fold it in half gently like this. So at the halfway point, we are going to use our round nose pliers. Let me go over the tools real quick first. So you need wire cutters to cut your wire. These are the Swanstrom brand wire cutters. And then you need regular pliers as well as round nose pliers. So these are both Lindstrom. My regular pliers are RX 7890 and the round nose ones are called RX 7590. So these are the ones that I'm going to be using now. And what I'm going to do is take my wire, just kind of bend it around the thicker part here because I want my bail to be, large enough for a necklace to fit through. So this is a good size here. Then you want to take one of the wires and you just want to bend it straight down like this. And then we'll take our pliers and we're going to hold this little circle, and then we're going to take the wire that is not going straight down and we're just going to wrap it around the wire that is going straight down. So I'm curving it around, completely around, so up and now down, so that it's made a complete rotation around. All right, here's how that looks. You can just press down on that a little bit to tighten that up if it's loose. All right, so the wire that's going down to the back, you want to point that to the back away from you, and then the wire that's going straight down is the wire that we'll be adding our bead on. So I'm going to position my bead point down like this, and I'm going to slide it up like that. And now this wire in the back, I'm going to press it down and push it across the back like this. And what you want to do here is we're going to end up twisting these two wires together. So you're going to take this wire and just kind of bring it down, and then take this wire and then just kind of raise it up. You want them to kind of crisscross each other, as you see here. See how they're crisscrossing each other like this? Maybe a little bit straighter. Okay. So just so it's easier to twist. If you've never twisted two wires together before, you might want to practice because sometimes it comes out a little wonky until you get the hang of it. But basically, so this wire for me is on top, so I'm gonna, push it this way, like that. And then just kind of continue very slowly and carefully, a little bit at a time. That way I have time to adjust if anything goes wrong and it forms this even kind of twist. You want the wires to be kind of equidistant. If you imagine the middle is here, each wire is the same distance from the middle. You don't want one of the wires to be straight and one of them, to be going down. Then the twist is not going to come out as good. All right, so we're just gonna slowly and gently twist like this. And this is going to be the stem of our flower. So if I push it up against the stone, like so, this is our flower stem, okay? And you can have it just going straight up, but I think it looks better if there is a little curve to it or a little bend to it, as flowers often tend to have. So I'm gonna attempt to put a little bend in it like this. So now we're gonna make the leaf. So this wire here, we are gonna make a loop with it. We're gonna turn it downwards like this, make kind of like a oval or a circle, and then bring it back up just like that. Okay, that's our loop, and then we're going to take that loop and squish it with our pliers like this. Squish, 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 and now it's flat. So you might want to raise this up from the stone a tiny bit so you can get in here. It'll make it easier, but basically to make the leaf, we're gonna hold the tip of this squished portion and we're gonna bend down, and see how that put like a little angle there when we did that. And now we're gonna hold that and then take this wire and bend it this way. So it kind of separated it away from this little point. And now we're gonna put the shape of it back, that little rounded kind of shape that it had. Close it back up. Here's our little leaf. So you can adjust it to get it however you want it to be, but also because the stone is kind of rounded, it's not flat, you want this to be flat against the stone so it's not raised and isn't getting caught on anything. So you can just kind of put a slight little curve in your leaf so that it kind of goes along with the curvature of the stone there. So now we're going to continue our twist that we've been doing. So I'm just going to twist in the same direction that I have been twisting, which is like this. And if you're having trouble at any point, especially here with the leaf of your twist maybe getting loose, you can also use your pliers and give it a little turn to tighten that up if needed. All right, so this is the point at which we are going to start thinking about the placement of our flower. So if I put this back, kind of how it was, and let's give this a little curve as well. All right, just like that. So take one of the wires. One of my wires is already kind of naturally sticking straight up at me, so I'm just going to help it along, make it stick straight up. And then for my flower bead, I'll leave you guys a link. I found a bunch of these on Etsy. There's like a million different sellers. I'll leave you the one I got them from, but they're just these little plastic or acrylic flowers, and there's so many different types as well. So I'm going to slide that on my wire. It has a hole through the middle like this. And then I'm going to look if that is a good placement for my flower, if it's not too low, you know, not too high. So this is actually really good placement. So before I add and lock that flower into place here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish off this other wire. I need to connect it up here to the bail so that I can just trim it off. So I'm bringing it up on one side of the bail and I'm wrapping it around, completely around like that. And then you can see it kind of forms a loop here around your bail. So you can wrap it one more time, or you can, you know, trim it here. I'm going to wrap it one more time just to make it just really sturdy. I guess you could also use this wire end and make some kind of swirl or extra decoration, but I'm going to try to keep this simple. So I'm going to take my wire cutters and I'm going to trim the wire. This is the back of the stone, the back of the pendant. And this little wire end here that you can see is nice and short, so I can press on it and it just goes into the bail like that. It gets kind of tucked away in there, doesn't stick through to the other side, and isn't visible from the front. And that's my way of finishing up that little wire end. So let's put the flower back on. So because I was careful about the placement of my flower, the flower almost entirely covers up this little attachment wire. So now to attach the flower, what you want to do is trim this wire, but it needs to be a little end long enough for you to make a tiny loop. So it's better to trim it longer and then just have it be too long and have to trim it again, rather than trim it so short that now you can't, you know, finish your piece. So if you're not sure how short to trim it longer, and then you can shorten it if necessary. But basically what you want to do, and this will depend on your round nose pliers too, because they all vary slightly in size depending on brand, but for mine, they're very small and they have this tiny little tip, so I can make a very tiny little loop. Okay, you might need to make your loop slightly bigger if your pliers are bigger, so your wire might need to be slightly longer. But you can see the little curvature there, kind of looks like a hook. So I'm going to continue curving that. I'm sorry, I know it's kind of hard to see, but I'm just continuing so that it makes a little loop. And my loop isn't fully closed just because I couldn't get in there all the way. So I'm going to have to use my regular pliers just to close up that loop, press it closed. See that? Now it's just a closed little loop. Let me just adjust it a tiny bit because it was just kind of facing downwards. So the flower does spin around on this. It's not locked completely in place and prevented from moving, but it is locked in this location. And that's it. That is this simple little beaded flower pendant. If you enjoyed this video, leave me a like down below and don't forget to subscribe. I post new tutorials every weekend. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.